So we can see actually three levels of sex. One is the biological level, man ka tal, the pleasure of the body, dehanurakti. It is gross, it is visible, and it is often lustful. The second one is a psychological level, man ka tal. We may call it bhavanurakti. It is subtle, it is tangible, it is loving and flowing. And the third one, the spiritual level, adhyatmik tal, paranurakti. It is invisible, it is transcendental, good for all, kalyankari, and eternal. So really speaking, if we are really honest about it, sex is the central point that connects with pleasure, joy, fear, love, anger, longing, disease, and samadhi. One needs to be honest enough to recognize that sex is the main center of life. Not God, not prayer, not soul, but sex is the main center. We have to be honest with that. But the only thing is that one has to go beyond it. One has to accept it. And this is where I would like to quote Osho. He says, and while you are meditating, your maturity comes sooner. Your centering comes sooner. Your awareness about things becomes clearer every day. And sex is going to be the first victim of your awareness. The other things will follow because sex is the very root of your animality. Once sex drops off, as if tree has lost its roots, then branches cannot remain green any longer. And he says, your anger, your jealousy, your violence, your inferiority complex, your superiority complex, all kinds of your neurosis, psychosis are just branches. They will start dying by themselves once you have gone beyond sex, without fighting with it. And then he concludes by saying, and that is my basic difference with all religions. They have been trying to drop sex. I am not telling you to drop it. Sex is to be accepted with deep respect. It is our heritage. We are born out of it. It is in our every fiber and every cell. To condemn it is to condemn oneself. So in the Indian culture, we have to also admit that we must not forget, we talk about the four achievements, the four accomplishments, purusharthas. These purusharthas are dharma, righteousness, truth, awareness, arth, making money, creating wealth, calm, enjoying the pleasures of the body, the world all around us. You can make as much as you can in this whole idea of calm enjoyment. And fourthly, moksha, liberation. The only interesting part is that dharma is in the beginning. So even if one has to enter into calm or all these dimensions, it has to be through awareness, through righteousness. There is a particular awareness that sits there, which is dharma. And then it says one has to go beyond karma, beyond these pleasures, and ultimately reach to the point of liberation, moksha, freedom. So we have to admit that our sages have given due respect to this particular aspect of our human life, and it has been accepted as an integral part of our human existence. Now, among the possible dimensions that relate to sex, such as biology, medical science, genetics, psychology, mythology, and spirituality, may I also bring to your attention, mental health is a significant factor connected with sex. How important is a satisfactory sex life for good mental health? Let me bring to your attention that according to a study that began in 1970, which has analyzed thousands of adults at San Francisco's Institute for Advanced Study of Human Sexuality, people with fulfilling sex life were found to be less anxious, less violent, and less hostile. Not only that, but they were seen as very likely or not likely to blame others for their misfortunes. Finally, just as the Taoists in China believed in yin and yang polarity. We find in India female Shaktis or energies, Saraswati, Lakshmi, Kali, Durga. In fact, Shiva and Shakti indicate male and female qualities in a harmonious balance. Freud also explains how each one of us carries a male and female quality, and that an imbalance between the two does lead one to a behavioral psychopathological state. Freud's protege, Carl Jung, gives us a better understanding of the dynamics between male and female principles within all of us. Despite the fact that there are basic differences between male and female, we all carry both male and female genes. Psychologically, we have both sexes within us, though one or the other may be more predominant. As for man, Jung calls the inner woman anima, while the inner man within a woman, Jung calls it animus. So this helps us to understand the 4 stages of transforming sex. The one, meeting of the outer man and the outer woman. The second is inner, that would lead us to experiencing the inner man and inner woman, which can also lead us to experiencing the union of inner man and inner woman. You may have seen symbolically, very beautifully, it has been presented as the whole image of Ardhanarishwar, that we carry both principles within us. And this, to beyond all polarities, attaining the state of total inner contentment. That is brahmacharya. Meditation is a way to transcend the polarity within. Meditation takes one away from all dualities. The alchemy of transforming the sex energy lies in the understanding of these 2 principles in each one of us, man or woman, anima or animus. Both can work as complementary and not in conflict with each other. Then one begins to become integrated. Then anima and animus melt into each other. The Bauls, the mystics from Bengal, put it so beautifully in a song, and I would like to share that with you. The song says, "As the man and the woman in me unite in love, the brilliance of beauty, balanced on the bipetal lotus, bloom in me, dazzles my eyes. The rays outshine the moon, and the jewels glowing on the hoods of snake. My skin and bone are turned to gold when the inner man and the woman meet. When Krishna and Kali become one, my skin and bone are turned to gold. I am the reservoir of love, alive as the waves. A single drop of water has grown into a sea, innavigable, unnavigable." So, as these principles circulate and come closer to each other, there is an inner orgasm, an inner intercourse between the two, a meeting of the man and woman within us. It is at this point that one becomes a celibate in the true sense. Celibacy need not be seen as an opposition or against sex. It is, in fact, a transmutation of sex. Hence, the sex energy is, in fact, a prerequisite for such a transformation to take place. Celibacy, say the sages, is not the primal cause, but the consequence emerging out of anima and animus merger. Generally, our attitude towards sex shows our repressed state of mind. Our puritanical approach to the universal reality appeals to one who is either sex-indulgent or sex-repressive. Our challenge is that we forget being aware, we forget our true nature. A guy was walking down the street, it was a Sunday morning, and somewhere he had forgotten his hat. So he was kind of disturbed with that. He came across a church. So he thought, why not go into the church and steal a hat? So he enters into the church and the sermon was on. So he waited until the sermon was over. After the sermon was over, he approached the priest and says, "Reverend, thank you very much. You really have saved me today from committing a sin. I really very much appreciate it." The preach was very pleased. He said, "My son, tell me, what kind of sin were you going to commit, and what did I say that stopped you from committing the sin?" So he said, "Sir, I had walked in here to steal a hat. But when you came to the point of explaining the 10 commandments and you began to talk about thou shalt not commit adultery, I remembered where I forgot my hat last night." We forget. This forgetfulness is sin. Actually, the very word sin means to forget. We forget how to be aware, how to be alert, how to be conscious. And therefore, I would like to conclude by saying that we need to remember to give aware, respectful and natural attention to sex, which can lead us to superconsciousness. I wonder, sir, if perhaps this forum could turn out to be a reminder to put God instead of the devil back in the bed. Thank you.